What up, peoples? Anybody who's new here, you wanna smash the subscribe button for me first? That would be super helpful. We're on the third video of Iris on the Eye. This clip comes from. It's not the rise of Nephilim magic. Nope, it's the bloodlines of monsters from the Confessionals podcast channel. I'm not gonna do a whole little my thoughts. We're just gonna get into the craziness of it and let it speak for itself, and then because I'm learning it's a show don't tell kind of vibe with reaction content. So here we go.
So you come from a family that I've seen described online. I don't know if you describe it this way, but you come from a family that people have described it as Illuminati family.
Mhm.
Is that how you would describe it?
That's not how I would describe it in the same way. I'll be honest. I think it's just a popular catchphrase that a lot of people are borrowing into. No, I come from a family that they believe they are descendants of the old gods. That's the best way to say it.
So this is so great that I feel like I'm finally doing this, but to his point of being that, that is, I believe that that's genuinely what they believe, that this is where he's about to say it. So the divine right of kings comes from these secret sects of slices of the upper crust of society that hoard the occult knowledge and think that they are come from the Nephilim or the Anunnaki, these either extraterrestrials or angels, some form of entity, other natured higher dimensional thing that procreated with women or created women to procreate them, because that's a whole other tangent, but that they did that, and then they think that that's where the fuck their God-given ability to rule over human, which he was also about to say is they see as separate, better than, and did a bunch of weird augmented transhuman bullshit to themselves. So it's you trying to have this be a thing of understand that this is where these people are coming from, and that not to say you can't reason with them, but you just gotta find other people that are actually legitimately people and work with them to fight, discern and create rules and a new structure of how we can get together and cooperate to be yo, if this is what's going on, we don't want to put people in power that are in this camp. Just continue to put them in power or whatever.
That they believe that they are carriers of a seed line that gives them the divine right to rule. And that is what gives them justification spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, scientifically to dominate the lesser species known as humans. Humans literally means a lesser species of man. And they do not believe they are a human in the same way. They believe they are something other than. And that's descendants of this hierarchical ruling species that is from the celestial realm that descended in the days of Jared and came down and procreated with the daughters of men, and that they still trace their seed line back to Gilgamesh till Nimrod. And so this is what the dynastic families believe they have, is a superiority in their genetics on one side and the ability to commune with the divine. And so their children are progenitors of these, some might call them abreactions, mutations, these skills, psychic abilities, that kind of stuff, all variants of it. And so they raise up their children in this path with which involves a tremendous amount of shattering of the soul and the identity, so that there's compartmentalization within, and it allows them the ability to train their child up in a way that makes them conducive towards the family.
So this is there's a really pretty girl jogging right now. I wonder if she's I saw a meme the other day. So this is such a tangent. Hopefully I can put it on screen, but they're not really MILFs anymore. They're just women my age, because I'm 28 or whatever, and I'm just fuck, that one cut the soul a little bit. Some salt in the wound on that one. I was oh man, that's true. But to the point of what he was just talking about, that MK Ultra and any of these the mind control level official governmental projects that we now have the information or proof of speak to this thing of inducing psychosis through heavy psychotropic psychedelic work or psychoactive substances, or super heavy trauma usually, and as he either is going to talk about or talks about in like the full length interview, which is like almost 2 hours long, it is usually of the sexual variety and happens pretty early on. And yeah, these people are a mafia and do really sketchy, like Jeffrey Epstein level stuff. And I think he even says in this interview at a different part that it's just like Epstein was either just like the tip of the iceberg or just like what is being deemed to be allowable within the public consciousness right now. And I made a couple videos speaking about that are literally before the last two that I did, of that and then the whole like shitty situation with Charlie Kirk. So if you want to check those out, they're there for some more context. But let's keep going forward.
I call them the family. That's what I called them. You know, it's a better word for mafia than anything else. But no, we didn't call ourselves, like my family wouldn't ever call themselves Illuminists.
Yeah.
Right? They're Luciferian. That's for certain. They worship Hillel ben Shahar, as he's really known, but different reasons than what people are ascribed to, you know.
This is just like a minor thing, but it's a weird when you get into this world of like the occult or fucking out of just like mainstream thought around Lucifer or the devil, and how in like you go, well, I just imagine you walk into any church, these people there aren't like super well versed in this they think they have like the watered down, it's just what's in the fucking whatever version of the Bible, the King James version that they're using, that it's like they're supposed to just be synonyms for each other. And now for some reason, again another tangent, sorry, that like I just had a dream. I think little Dicky was in the dream and he was like going over synonym, anonym, and then like empirical, and like there's like another word. He's like on a whiteboard in a college and like made this basically making a bunch of weird wordy jokes around pronunciations, and I don't know why talking about this shit, because I said synonym and anonym, like just making me think of that, but sorry, it's just randomly a tangent thing that just came up in my brain. But to the point of Satan, Lucifer, and Baal, and all these different notions of the ultimate evil, or a very evil entity, deity type thing. Again, this is coming with information that this dude Izzy, other YouTuber, not bestowed upon me, because I already had this idea before, but it was just recently speaking about, so it's more on the forefront of my knowledge, that it's like they're similar but different. And then he was describing like a hierarchical power structure within hell, or just reality, or whatever the fuck it is, that like they either work for each other or like on a similar like power scale or like level of the tiers of evil, but they can be and are sometimes separately distinct things that you like pray to or work for, or are like Lucifer isn't Satan, isn't Baal, but like depending on the level of depravity or what kind of stuff you're doing, you want to be interacting with them. If that's where your game is, the specific ones to do specific things. It's just the strangeness, the weirdness of reality that we're that as it actually is what I'm trying to get at here. But let's just keep going.
Are what they believe, do you believe is true in the sense of them being able to trace back their lineage to the fallen?
Some of them, yes. I believe they absolutely can.
Do you think that's in your blood?
I believe it was, yeah. I believe it is.
Yeah?
I believe there's no way to physiologically necessarily... My blood's been augmented a lot over the years. I volunteered for a lot of stuff and said yes to everything that they could ever give me that would make me better than what I was. I was on a desperate quest for relief. And so I volunteered for all kinds of stuff, and I volunteered for stuff that was transhuman.
So, because you probably don't know, but I'm pulling up the thing of the full thing to look at. This guy's name is Nathan Reynolds. He's got a YouTube channel, probably linked down in the description, and then the full interview is also in the description. But he's just got a crazy, wild story. Obviously, the subjects he's speaking upon right now are just very like sort of out there. They're like, for me, they're not really super out there, but I'm fucking in the deep end. I've been in the deep end for the last decade or so. But what he's just describing of augmenting the blood, that's similar to, like, here's a more based or easier digestible like entry level thing of like people who are super wealthy, like the guy who is the blueprint shit, Brian whatever the fuck, he's like some weird tech billionaire, guy or super rich millionaire who like wants to like live for forever or keep extending his life. And I think he said, pretty sure someone I had recently talked to said that he said this publicly, and hopefully I'm citing sources and pulling it up on screen. This isn't just an allegation, allegedly. But I don't think he's gonna sue me, but just to protect myself, that he does the weird rich person thing of like young blood vampiric-esque things of like literally like taking blood from his children and putting it, injecting it in himself, and then he putting his blood into his father to like extend the lifespan of the person. Like if you see the ads this guy runs, he's literally like, oh yeah, I'm aging at like half the speed of a normal person, and I'm like 38, but really I'm like fucking 20 something years old, like my biology is. And it's just like weird and off-putting for us normies who are just like trying to survive on the fucking weird chemical fucking laced poisoned food we gotta deal with as poor people, that they are just shoving down our throats saying that GMOs are a good thing, you know, all this malarkey propaganda. But yeah, to try to get back on track to the point of this guy's just got a really crazy story, and I don't know, I'm trying to like come at this from a perspective of like I am trying to expound upon, explain, share what I think is actually really going on is true in reality, and if you don't see it that way, like I can't help you, or just like we're all biased in our own ways. But that, and this is a metric that I think sort of I used earlier in my life to try to rationalize my perspective on the world, that like if you're suffering a lot more, you probably believe a lot more lies than you would care to admit to yourself. And I've suffered a lot recently, so I must have been believing or living with lies and flaws in my thought process that I was not wanting to acknowledge. So I'm only human and not perfect. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research. All the things that I need to say to, one, to cover my ass from liability, but then also just the fact that, like, generally speaking, yeah, it's kind of like a good way to go. And oh man, yeah, shit, this is just so rambly. I'm trying to like not make these videos fucking 8 hours long, but oh my god, the thing again, we're just gonna keep pulling from Izzy, because he's just somebody that I'm like watching. He had said like, be careful what you're like pouring into your brain, and he did a whole different analogy, but I'll just keep it to the one that I kind of like, that if your brain is like a pond of water or a body of water, that if you keep pouring a bunch of shit into it, it like messes with the tides, and you never can get like that calm, cool, and collected like state of like a surface level normal tension thing. And I'm tired and brain farted where I wanted to go from him. Oh, it was related to Izzy and something that he had said around oh yeah, he like trusting the sources is important, but that everyone, even the sources that you trust implicitly or very deeply, can make mistakes and aren't going to get everything right 100% of the time. I know that people that I used to like look up to in the truther community, conspiracy theory people, like said things and that made mistakes, and you just kind of gotta like, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. If they're like saying a lot of good shit that you agree with, or just saying a lot of factually true like statements, or like they're legit, but then like make a mistake or they eventually say something that you don't agree with, like, you don't have to immediately just throw out the rest of the awesome shit that they had said previously because they said the one thing that, like, upset you in that one moment. So there's a level of, like, being an adult here of, like, discernment and, like, checking the facts, but also, like, finding people that you can relatively trust. Hopefully I'm one of them. And then, like, if I say something that upsets you, be like, he's doing that thing of being a person, not being an imperfect, perfect thing of God's creation that is just, like, learning and growing and constantly changing, just like you. So now let's get back to it, now that I've rambled for so long. If you're still here, much appreciated. Seriously, if you're still here, you should probably subscribe, because we're not going anywhere.
In its nature.
Really?
And it augmented me quickly, you know? And that was brutal. Because then there's this, I lived a lot longer than I expected. Let me just put it that way. And it took me, there was one book that made a massive difference in that, which was called The Gospel to Every Creature. And I believe it's written by John Darnell. It is very hard to find. I have a copy, but it's been scrubbed. And it's the good news to Nephilim, vampires, and transhumans, you know? And it helped me to see that maybe I wasn't anathema, that maybe just because I have this seed line in me, that maybe just because I'm a progenitor of the offspring of the fallen, that it doesn't mean that I'm not able to be redeemed, because no matter what, by blood or by belief, I believe that we have a Messiah that overcame and we can overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the words of our testimony, and not living our lives when faced with death. And it was that powerful encounter with the Almighty, with the true judge of all the earth, who I can make an appeal to, who can give me a new bloodline, you know, and that's what he offers to everyone.
Yeah, not spoilers, but a little bit of context, that this is a very, like, Christian kind of thing, and it's sort of weird, cool, interesting to, like, trying to, like, dabble more back in with, like, the Christian mysticism side of things, because I feel like this level of truth or information is kind of not antithetical to the church, but, like, is definitely something that people in mainstream thought just aren't grappling with. And, like, I don't think I could walk into a fucking, like, normal church, and, like, have these conversations with people. But just something I am slightly jealous about, or wish that I could have the way that Christians have, is that unshakable faith that Jesus Christ is their dude and has their back, and it just is this, like the thing that exorcists rely on to be, like, the judge of the cosmos, their God being the thing that, like, gets to fucking, like, tell demons and negative entities, the fallen angels, like, no, you can do this, but you can't do this. And, like, you get to exist because we're trying to teach people what not to do, or, like, they have their free will to be able to, like, not love me the way that I love them unconditionally. But I just, like, there's some part of me that, like, wants to fight it, but, like, it's still struggling with the hierarchical, imperfect, human, like, Catholic Church thing. Like, as much as I would like to be an exorcist and grapple with that reality of, like, going to places and, like, helping people, like, not be possessed from negative entities, that, like, I'm not gonna join a fucking not a missionary, but any of, like, the things, like, the process to go to become a priest, and, like I'm good. They got the whole fucking PDF file of scandals that they were fucking suppressing for all that time, and I just need to continue to be, like, a stray cat outsider of, like, I'm good, and I want to read that book that he was just talking about, trying to actually, like, talk about the clip and not just bullshit that I'm, like, going through and experiencing. And I guess I'm still gonna go pursue the, like, musical shaman, funny clown, healer dude who may or may not get to do exorcisms when I do help with people who are possessed. This, goddamn, bro, I'm just making this so long, but the video that I had watched about an exorcist who had talked about it, like, he has a theory that basically, I'll put the link to that in the description too, that it's like 25% of people are either doing therapy or, like, are on psychotropic, or young people are on, I can't remember exactly how he had phrased it, but that, like, and he thinks that, like, because of how depraved and corrupt and degenerate our world is becoming, and, like, less, like, based or marred in a moral upright standard path, that like he's saying that like he thinks there's like levels to it and degrees of how possessed you are, but that he thinks that some amount of the mental illness is being fucking affected by demonic possession. It was from I originally got seen that video from Tim Pool talking about it, so I might put the Tim Pool clip in there too as well if I can find it, but let's just keep going.
Well, my family set up a base of operations. They're from the East Coast. The Reynolds family on one side. My mother's family, just for clarity, I've never exposed a lot of the side of things that were going on with. Let me say it another way. The Reynolds family on my father's side, they're all from the East Coast out here, and they're a dynastic family. You know, like my great-grandfather, a man named Don Potter Reynolds, was the architect, the head of engineering for the president, as the president of the American Society of Civil Engineering back in the 80s. And he's the one who put the new torch in the Luciferian hand of the Statue of Liberty of Columbia. If you've got unlimited access to wealth, power, like really, I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about power, like unlimited raw power. Where a phone call, the phone book, is far more powerful than the bank account, because it's who you know can open doors to power anywhere else in the entire world. And that's where everything was. So you can leave with nothing, but then you can go build. And if you need the phone book, there's a price to be paid. And the price to be paid is generally one of your children. This is like the reality. It seems bizarre to some, but a child is generally a chosen child out of the family is given over as an offering to the family. And they're the ones who's going to go through this left-hand path. They're going to experience the desecration of their soul, their identity, and they're going to become an agent for the family that is owned completely. And there's like a legal trustee that is given over to it. There's a board of directors that sits over it. Like these are real legal confines for how the wealth is distributed out there. And where I was born, that is a place that's a high place, Mount Humphreys. It's a volcanic peaks that sit there. And the top of it is where the Hopi Indian and a lot of people had gathered forever to commune with the fallen. They believed that the sons of the sky would come down every season at the winter solstice, and they would abide from the winter solstice to the summer solstice there. And so this was a place where they would give their daughters over to them. This is Hopi mythology, like 101, you know, and they would make these Kachina dolls, which were an effigy of the what I would say is a watcher angel that would come, and the daughter would be given to him, and she would place that over her bed throughout her life, you know, and that's her familiar spirit, right? That's where I was born into. And the people that still practice that old religion, that's the way I refer to it, they still do this. And they still take their children up there to give them over to them on these high days. And so I was born into that, and I was born through that seed line and into that ritual magic world.
So wild, right? So crazy that it's just... one thing that still boggles my mind as doing this or being alive in this state of period of access to information is just how like interwoven, layered, and like messy it all is. It's just like giant, complicated ass ball of yarn thing where like every single aspect of our lives is like tied together up in it somehow. There's like a legal component, there's these like weird, crazy, mystical components of like societies that have been conquered by Western ideology or Western civilization, but that they're all still speaking around, tiptoeing, dancing in this like infinite story creator thing that we are all a like fractalized version of, and it's constantly listening in, trying to like help us if we're open to serving it or being a player for it on the grander scale. I pray for the atheists, man, or the people that think there's nothing. Like I feel for you. I pray for you, buddy. I just don't think it's that way. Because I don't know. I don't need to get into that tangent. Let's just keep going. But it just boggles my mind. It's so like wonderfully terrifying at the exact same time. Keep going.
And but my mother's side are extreme Catholics and Jesuits through and through, and so her father ran a different operation in Southern California, which was much more based on the child exploitation side of the equation. And he operated out of Lake Havasu City, Arizona. Lake Havasu, for those of you that are unfamiliar, sits in the absolute desert border of Arizona and California, and it has the Colorado River that's been dammed up, and they created an artificial lake there. And it was a secret military base back in World War II. That was called Site 6. And it was a stopover point crossing the desert for soldiers going there. And they would made it into a rest and recuperation area. And so it was a party city from its foundation. It had a lot of underground structures that were built into it as a refueling point. And in the 1960s, a guy named Robert P. McCulloch bought it. And he bought it, and he also purchased the London Bridge that crossed the River Thames. And he had it shipped over here stone by stone. And while they were doing that, they excavated 80 bodies that were entombed inside it in a practice that's called annulment, where you would sacrifice a person and bury them alive in the walls of the foundation. And so there's all these chambers in this facility of the London Bridge where they would do torture and all kinds of ritual stuff. You're in it.
Right, like, so, like, big if true. You just gotta take it, like, don't let it all ruin your life all at once when if you're wherever you are in the path of pursuing or trying to understand the deeper realities of the world and life that we live. But one thing, like, just gives me solace and keeps me from fucking spiraling too deep down into the depths of despair is just the fact that, like, if there are all of these evil, crazy things happening, however you want to try to, like, insulate yourself from them, or you want to be like my brother and say that the PDFs are just they're just secular, they're not actually doing any of this crazy ritualistic black magic bullshit, that's, if they get all the evil, we get all the good, man. I mean, you just gotta, like, try to figure out or use whatever, like, theology or thing that you've got, moral compass going on for your individual self, and just, like, rock with that the best you can and stay on the straight and narrow. And again, like, speak truth, spread truth, and, like, find people to do that with. And, like, God, dude, it's, on some level there's gotta definitely become a point where, like, either this isn't great legal advice, but, like, stop paying our taxes and, like, do something, or like, make it so that the government can't fund in, like, these projects and be so goddamn corrupt, man. Or it's all gotta, like, it might just gotta go the path of, like, it's all gotta, like, kind of get blown up. Not saying I'm gonna blow anything up, but like fall apart. Civilization gotta collapse so we can rebuild from the scraps or whatever's left over after it, like, collapses. Because this is, like, sometimes it just feels like a dystopian horror movie, you know, and you're just like, well, man, like, how am I supposed to combat this, or, like, what is the right way to, like, go about building wealth so I don't get involved with their craziness, them doing all this weird shit that is terrible. Like, whew, you know, that's just where I'm at, what I'm wondering. But we're almost to the end, people. Almost to the end. If you want to subscribe now or subscribe later, either way, that would be sick. I'm just gonna keep asking and poking the little button in your brain, or to the point where you're gonna either tell me to politely fuck off or, like, actually do it. And either way, I appreciate your time and energy. Let's keep going. We're almost there, people.
Well, so, all right, seeing things like that, like, you say, all right, so you said you saw men become monsters. Is that metaphorically or literally?
It's literally. I've seen men do nasty things like an animal, but then I've seen men become not people.
Like, literally
not be the people. Yeah.
Okay.
And there is like lycanthropy, and there's these understandings of what the Watchers are capable of doing that most people are just woefully ignorant of. And that's why they're perishing. It's because they lack a basic understanding of history. And one of the predominant understandings of what a Watcher, specific class of celestial beings, is capable of is augmenting itself. They can shapeshift. That is by their nature. They're literally called metaschizmadzotoi in the Greek in the New Testament. And it's because he says it's marvel not, because Hasatan you could say, like, transforms himself. That's a good word for it. But he shapeshifts himself into an angel of light. And his messengers, his apostles, disciples, they do the same thing.
Yeah, so that's what I got for you right now. This is just a very small, I think maybe out of 24, 8 out of 24 is maybe 8 minutes. No, it's my decimal place is off. So maybe that's like 3% of the conversation, if my math is mathing right now. and it was just so good, so great. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I would love to talk to this guy, maybe sort of, but it's more so like less. This is just about awareness. I'm significantly more interested in like, in a way, like either cataloging it or trying to put it all together, all the crazy stories of all these dynasties or people that are like worshiping or descend from these things and are doing all this weird corrupt shit. That'd be like one side, because I have this project called Cootie in my brain. It's like the Conscious Collective Observation of the Truthful Intelligence Initiative, where it's like you could go there and sort of the way that Project Veritas espouses that they got their like truth and getting accurate information, but like maybe like less political, just more truth about literally everything. But then it just like, again, becomes like we're just humans and are we gonna fuck up and make mistakes, but it's better to have loved and lost, or it's better to have tried the endeavor and gone after it, the goal, versus just sitting there and being a passive fucking consumer of and being influenced by all these people that are going after their goals full force and full send. So that's what I'm on about. It's like actually focusing on the solutions of like, we have the awareness of these like crazy bad things that are going on, but what can we actually do? And like, I don't know if your local fucking politician's gonna do shit, because like if they're involved in it in whatever way that they're compromised spiritually, we've got the blackmail going on, going to the parties, going to the islands, like, dog, like, what the fuck are they really gonna do about it, bro? Like, they ain't gonna do shit. So like, what do we do as the people who are still just like being ruled by fucking gangs, basically, just gangs with suit and ties that say that they got the legal right to fucking throw us in prison for fucking standing up for ourselves? Like, I wish I knew, brother. I wish I knew. I think very much of like a Gandhi level civil, peaceful disobedience, and like just getting together with people and doing like peace meditations. I feel like that's gotta be on some level calling in a very strong, powerful, like Jesus level, like force. I don't know if Jesus is really the Son of God and did all the things they say mystically he did. I just wish I could have been there and seen it with my own eyes, so I could tell you like, no, I really saw that shit. That's really what's going on. Or the Buddha, or any type of this like mystical level like things that people say happen or are going on, and I just want to know so I can collect it, the evidence for it, and present it to you and be like, no, I did the research, I got the sources, I should try to find that book that dude was talking about, even though I said it's super hard to find. Read that shit. Gotta read freaking that lady with something Webb. Can't remember her first name, but something Webb is the lady who wrote the books on Epstein's whole crazy ass intelligence networks, like network of people that he was involved in his like rise to fucking becoming a blackmailing fucking arms dealer / human trafficking guy. But that's kind of it. All my done diddly rambles aside, I hope you enjoyed it, and leave your thoughts and comments and likes and subscribes and all the things down below where all you can find all the shit that I was rambling about. And I really appreciate you. Check out my podcast if you want. I got a Patreon that's down there. You can support me on that. Give me some ideas about what you want on the Patreon, because all I got is like a bunch of stuff that I made, and it's pretty sick. And I'm gonna keep going until I die. So fucking aloha mahalo. Aloha mahalo.